Hello, welcome to Low Code in 30. My name's Jeff Goldberg. I'm a platform evangelist at Mendix, and today we're going to be speaking about unleashing the makers, moving faster with citizen developers. Low Code in 30 is a monthly webinar series dedicated to educating the enterprise on the benefits of low-code application development. You may watch any of our previous webinars on the Mendix YouTube channel or visit mendix.com/demos. We've covered a range of topics over the past year, including IoT, artificial intelligence, security, and DevOps in these webinars. Please check them out. Today we're talking about citizen development. However, it's not just about moving faster like the title of this webinar. IDC predicts that 500 apps will be created between now and 2023. I'm sorry. Did I say 500? I meant 500 million apps by 2023. So in 4 years, more apps will be made than the number of apps developed in the past 40 years. I'd like to be able to put that on a graph of some kind or use some sort of visualization, but it just would look ridiculous. So, in what form are these apps going to take shape? Well, we've talked about microservices in past Low Code in 30s, and if the microservice evolution continues, it's easy to see these discrete applications that do one thing really well will represent the bulk of the volume of this 500 million. However, over time, it's the percentage of microservices reuse that's going to grow. And that will tip the scales toward more apps made from stitching together these microservices, because productivity, efficiency, and experience are where the action is. So the next question is, who? Who will make these applications? Citing IDC once more, they predict a new developer class will exist by 2024 who will represent a 30% increase in the addressable number of developers in the world. Moreover, these developers will build apps and experiences without writing any custom code. Finally, tools are converging and conforming to the mindsets and skill sets that people share to drive digital transformation goals that companies have sought to achieve for the past 20 years and haven't been able to do. So, who is this supposedly new developer class? Well, they're called citizen developers, and they've been around a lot longer than you may think. Let me give you something to think about. Do you work with any intricate Excel spreadsheets? Have you dabbled and designed databases in Microsoft Access? Maybe you or someone you know uses tools like Tableau or Power BI or Qlik to visualize data. How about Google Forms? SurveyMonkey maybe? Snowflake, Python, or UiPath perhaps? If you're familiar with any of these tools, then you, my friend, are a citizen developer. Citizen developers use technology to make life at work better for themselves and their teammates. They understand business first, technology second, and with the right tools, they solve business problems very quickly. They're able to work with such efficiency because they have a keen understanding of the problem. It becomes personal, and as a result, they develop an insatiable appetite to solve it. Citizen developers could be functional analysts in finance or marketing, HR, sales, pretty much anywhere where data is used to drive decisions these days. Why do citizen developers exist, and why are they building all of these tools? Well, they have a perception that IT doesn't move at the speed of the business, or that they have an IT backlog that's stacked with strategic projects, so the stuff that they want as citizen developers need to get done just won't get done because it's just not a priority. Or that what the business wants, the outcome that they need, is smaller than the project IT wants or is really equipped to handle. I like to say that it's more of fixing tiles than it is building whole bathrooms. And that's what IT likes to do. They want to build whole bathrooms. So the business side of the house, it's important to understand, the business side of the house is in the business of making decisions. They make them often, they make them quickly, and it requires agility and nimbleness to stay relevant and maintain some semblance of differentiation in competitive markets today. They want, nay, they need tools that help them make those decisions with agility, to make it, break it, and repeat over and over again. Citizen developers don't wait for their proposed solution to become a top 5 project on the backlog. The point is that IT has already lost control. So let's see how it happens and how these two groups can collaborate. This is a story about a functional analyst, one of those people I recently described as a citizen developer, and their counterpart, the professional developer. As an analyst working with data, you support your teammates and managers with data extracts and spreadsheet reports, which help them make decisions. They like the work you do, and you like the recognition, so when they come to you with a request, you're more than happy to jump on it and deliver. At first, you get requests from email asking you to format some spreadsheets and stuff like that. Happily, you unleash a bit of creativity and become a styling master in formatting Excel spreadsheets. The team is overjoyed. Now they can print out these awesome-looking reports and hand them out at meetings for everyone to see. One day, a peer approaches you and says, "Hey, can you help me with this workbook? I want to add some interactivity into the sheet. Do you know how to add a drop-down, some buttons right on the sheet so that when something changes, it updates the screen?" You take on that challenge and learn how to record macros and add the functionality requested. Your hero status starts growing. The next time you're asked to do something, it's a bit more sophisticated. This time, your manager asks for you to build an entire entry screen and windowed environment inside of Microsoft Excel. So you're psyched because you've been wanting to learn how to build forms in Excel to enhance the experience users have with these applications that you're building all over your department and maybe some others. So you build some pretty cool apps with Excel and your legend grows. You're making work easier for your teammates and they can do more. And they don't have to wait for IT to come around and deliver something that they didn't really ask for. But all of a sudden, panic strikes. One of two issues has cropped up in some of the work that you've been doing. The first issue is that you received a request to build something and you don't think Excel can do it. You've done the research and what you found is beyond the tool's capability. The second issue, and the one you really don't want to ever have happen, is that someone found an issue in one of your Excel apps that created a data inconsistency or tripped someone up in a meeting. You try to troubleshoot the issues, but you haven't kept the most exact records of the changes you've made in the hundreds of backup copies that you have of these apps. Nevertheless, you've got to figure something out because your credibility is at risk. And so you start scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. You work really hard to try to find a solve for these issues, and all paths seem to point to learning how to code. I mean, it's all over LinkedIn that you should learn to code, right? You want to maintain your status across the organization, so you think it's time to learn to code. However, there's a lot of options, and it's a bit overwhelming to choose which one you should begin with. But you do make a decision, and you plow forward because it's your nature to solve problems. It's what you do. Or is it what you do anymore? Because what's really happening here? You may be solving problems, but are you solving the right ones? Are you doing the job you originally started with anymore? If you're an analyst and you're spending the majority of the time looking at your screen and it looks like this, chances are there's a disconnect somewhere. You're not really analyzing, you're coding. Moreover, as you begin refactoring your solutions and coding new versions in these programming languages you're learning, you likely have to consider other things that you've never even thought of before, like databases and how they're going to use those to support the application. And where is it going to be hosted? Do you even know what hosting is? You never had to consider these larger concerns when you were making Visual Basic automations inside of a spreadsheet tool like Excel. So what do? Most likely, you get to a point where you just throw your hands up in the air and you're in despair, realizing this is overwhelming and not what you really want to be doing in the first place. What you want to keep doing is solving problems. Lucky for you, you have a friend at work, or maybe it's a neighbor and they're a software developer. Right? You sit down with your buddy one day and say, "Hey, I've built some stuff. Do you mind taking a look at it? Because I could sure use some help. These have become mission critical because our finance team uses this app to forecast sales globally, or this marketing team uses it for this kind of brand analysis." And not knowing really what they're getting into, your developer friend says, "Sure, I'll take a look at it." They want to be helpful. As the professional developer, you sit down and you start looking at these quotation fingers apps that your friend has built. And you look at them and you say, "These are built in Excel." And you go to your friend and you say, "You built these in Excel?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course I did." And you're like, "Well, in order for me to really help you, I'm going to have to unwind all of these things. And that's going to take me about 6 months to do. And if I look at my backlog, I have a backlog of 6 months of work, which is probably why you went down this road in the first place, building these Excel applications. Because I didn't have time to help you. And I'm looking at these, and because I have to unwind them and basically rebuild them from scratch, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do it." And your developer friend goes on to say that these apps may be mission critical, but they aren't going to scale, and there isn't going to be a way for a development team to take them on and support them as is. Consequently, everyone ends up losing in this deal and is upset. But what if the line of business had a way to solve problems in a scalable, governed way that also facilitated greater collaboration between makers in the business and makers in IT? What if you had a platform that emphasizes transparency and collaboration, where every project has a social feed connecting information and activity between everyone related to the project, that promoted agile methodologies and takes developers of all stripes right to where the action is, right where attention is needed in making the app better? What if you had a platform that's visual, contextual, and intuitive when it comes to logic? So instead of a developer having to teach someone a language so that they can review some code, or get frustrated and then draw the code in a readable way on a whiteboard, you could just cut to the chase and use visual logic to make applications that act and do. No more complicated expressions trapped in a single line of a formula bar. No more convoluted syntax. Just a common visual language anyone can easily understand. An open platform with APIs for professional developers to extend it, to make managed, reusable components that citizen developers can add to their projects with a button click, or simply drag and drop onto a canvas. Gone will be the days of the drive-by. replaced with a self-service ecosystem that accelerates time to market while providing flexibility for the business to innovate and control to allow IT to govern. A platform that abstracts away the plumbing necessary to stand up an application project. From the requirements to the database, from building the app container, from version control to deploying it out to the cloud. Infrastructure concerns are addressed for all developers, enabling them to focus on what's really important, which is solving the business problem. And if your organization should happen to have an established DevOps culture, that's okay, because this platform, the Mendix platform, supports it with APIs and a cloud-native application architecture to deploy applications anywhere you need them to be. See, the Mendix platform does citizen development, and so much more. We're the leader on the Gartner Magic Quadrants for multi-experience and for low-code application development platforms. And because the demand for our platform is growing, we're helping over 100 universities throughout the world equip the next generation of problem solvers with the mindset to make applications and experiences with low code and with Mendix. We're blazing a trail for a full spectrum of developers, from the business and IT, to make apps. Our footprint in over 25 industries demonstrates how organizations of all shapes and sizes are embracing low code to make enterprise applications. We've focused attention today on the citizen developer, who they are, and the tools they need to help themselves. But it's important to point out, citizen development does not replace professional development, not by any stretch of the imagination. What is happening is the role of the professional developer is evolving to incorporate more skills in the realm of business strategy, just as the citizen developer gains more capabilities with abstracted tooling. Working together with the right tools for the right people for the right use cases, low-code application development delivers the flexibility the business needs to solve their most immediate problems and ensures IT can jump in and help out when needed, as well as support these innovations over the long haul. How does Mendix achieve this? The platform supports a common model with real-time collaboration across multiple development environments. Citizen developers use Mendix Studio through a browser to build apps, and professional developers use Mendix Studio Pro to build apps as well as support them. There's more to Mendix Studio Pro, but we'll address that in a future webinar. Bottom line, our goal is to unleash the maker in everyone to help move business forward. Let's take a few minutes to see what citizen developers can do with the Mendix platform. For the first demo, let's experience how a citizen developer can use the Start with Excel capability in Mendix Studio to create their data model and admin pages for an app. From the Mendix platform portal, start by clicking the Create App button. Click the Start with Data button and give the new app a name. Click Create App and stand by while Mendix builds out the app environment. Browse for the Excel file that you want to import. And when the file imports, you'll see that common fields and data are analyzed for relationships. All the sheets in the workbook will become tables in the domain model, and the columns will become fields in those tables. Relationships will present themselves with grayed out columns that have data matches. It's possible to manage these relations manually to ensure the data model imports cleanly. When ready, check the box to create the overview pages and click the Import Data button. Mendix prepares the database and the domain model. To make the model look pretty, just click and drag the tables on the canvas. Instant Domain Model. Let's preview the app by clicking on the Preview button. The preview stages the app in a temporary location so that we can work with it and the data that's inside of it without publishing it to the sandbox. The home page has a button to view the data from the overview page. All the tables are visible with buttons to add, edit, and delete data. Clicking on the new button opens up the corresponding page to go ahead and create a new record. So knowing that Excel is a familiar construct for citizen developers working with data, Mendix Studio fast-tracks the citizen developer app creation time by taking that Excel workbook and transforming it into a working domain model that they can start building an app with. In this next demo, we'll take an app that's already been built and use Mendix Assist to help us walk through creating new logic and new functionality. Mendix Assist is an AI assistant that helps you make apps faster. In this app, I'm going to add an average rating for session feedback in this event management app. So to start, I'm going to create a field to store the average rating in the database. Mendix allows many types of different attributes. This one, we're going to make a decimal. So now I'm going to go from the domain model to the session page using this handy menu bar on the side, and I'll choose the session view page, which opens that page up for editing. The toolbox on the right-hand side contains an array of front-end elements, and search enables easy access to widgets like the star rating, which I'll use for this new functionality. Drag and drop a widget or a building block anywhere on the canvas, and just like that, the web page is updated. Set the properties for widgets using a mixture of text and attribute. Widgets are smart. Knowing the fields available for a given widget, buttons offer a variety of on-click options, and microflows allow custom logic to run. Mendix Assist analyzes microflows made in the past to help developers make the future. Seeing that an object is passed into this microflow, the assistant recommends options like retrieving the session via a relationship, with the feedback a reviewer will leave. Mendix Assist teaches developers visual logic, informing them of what their selection will do. To calculate the average, the AI pair programmer advises me to retrieve all the feedback connected to a session. Because of the pattern of the flow, the machine learning algorithm thinks a calculation makes sense. The average is the option I want, so I just click, and Mendix Assist takes care of the rest. The last step is modifying the session object to store the new average rating. I'll finish it off by setting the average rating field value. Now it's time to publish the app in one click and see the average rating in action. Mendix Assist helped me make this microflow fast and correct because it taps into the collective knowledge of every Mendix developer. Now that the app is published, I'm going to choose Johan's session on the future of low-code and leave some feedback. 4 stars is good, and as soon as the feedback is submitted, the average updates. I'll add another review, 5 stars this time, submit, and now the average is 4.5 stars. So what you've seen here is very easily I've been able to update a page with a new visual element and then use microflows, logic, tapping into the power of an AI assistant programmer to help me build that logic out to satisfy the calculation I want to do. Let's review some of what we just saw. Mendix supports citizen development in an enterprise context by giving citizen developers the ability to import data from a familiar construct through Excel, by providing them a sandbox for experimentation, which mitigates a risk of overwriting production applications, enforcing user security to protect sensitive data when you start building apps, by providing building blocks and tools like Mendix Assist that accelerate prototyping with the right customization level and the ability to iterate and innovate quickly. The common model that provides a path to enterprise app support and for professional developers to weigh in and customize and enhance applications. Professional developers also have the ability to set the branch that citizen developers work on with enterprise applications so that they can review their changes before they get implemented into production scenarios. And role-based security dictates what the different developers along the spectrum can do in the platform. 500 million. These apps are going to get built. And most of the people that are going to do it don't care about governance or see IT as an obstacle. We've got to overcome that. And the way that we overcome that is by embracing citizen development, because it's happening whether you know it or not. Software as a service and platforms as a service eliminate the purchasing barrier for buying software at the line of business now. And shadow IT within departments exists, and it needs to be embraced because it's where inspiration lives and problems get solved. As an IT organization, you need to partner with the business and have them develop apps with a platform where you set the guardrails and control that shepherd their innovations to scalable production environments. It's time for the business and IT to meet at the intersection of strategy and technology to get stuff done. And Mendix is the platform to help you.